morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the International Ombud Expo 2019. I'm sure you see how colorful this is. Do you like it? Okay, that's very good. On behalf of the conference chair and host of this event, the first in its kind, with a theme extending the Ombud frontiers, better governance, enhanced performance, holding consecutively for 3 days, today being the 29th through till the 31st of October. I officially welcome you on board. What I know expos such as these does is that it allows participants to create what I would call a miniature world, however fleeting it is. But this isn't fleeting. This has a lot to do with you and I. Thank you for being part of this, and I once more say welcome. Can we rise for the national anthem, please? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. You may sit. In order of protocol, we must acknowledge first the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, and the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo-San, who is ably represented by his Special Advisor on Social Investment, Mrs. Mariam Uwais. Thank you very much, ma'am. You're welcome. And I understand that you should actually be on the high table. Can we welcome her to the high table, please? Thank you. Members of the State House of Assembly, House of Representatives, and indeed our host, the Chief Commissioner of the Public Complaints Commission, Honorable Chile Igbawa, and all other commissioners present. The Chief Commissioner, our dear host, someone who has made this event what it is. Is Prof here? Okay. Can he come to the high table, please? Please do, sir. Thank you. I understand that you're a very humble man, but you have to be on the high table. Honorable Chile Igbawa and all the commissioners present, thank you. Professor Ayeni, the Chief Executive Officer of GMSI. Can we welcome him to the high table? Thank you, sir. And we also have next in the order of protocol from South Africa. Can we welcome her to the high table? Ma'am, to the high table, please. Thank you. And we have the representatives of the International Ombudsman Institute to the high table. Representative of the International Ombudsman Institute. Okay, we recognize you. And we'll get on to people who should be on the high table as we make progress. There couldn't be a more perfect day to host an event such as this. The weather is appreciably nice. It will only get warmer as we progress. And I'm very sure that all the international guests are getting familiar with the terrain. Nigerians are hospitable people. I'm sure you have experienced that hospitality. We're a people of multi-ethnic, we're very multi-ethnic people, and I'm sure you've been told that we are the most happiest people in the world. Do you agree? Okay, clap for yourselves, Nigerians. The various people and languages makes it the more beautiful, and that is very good to note. Distinguished guests from outside the Federal Capital Territory, we say welcome to a place fast becoming metropolitan, just like Lagos. And I'm sure you're feeling the hospitality from the seat of power. Without much further ado, we commence this event. We wouldn't want to take much of your time. The convener of this spectacular event is a Nigerian ombudsman, our own ombudsman. Those saddled with the erroneous task of being the watchdog of social justice in our country, they are the Public Complaints Commission. It will be in order to bear in mind that the famous quote about ombudsman the world over, and that is, an ombudsman has an obligation when it spots trouble. It has an obligation when it spots patterns, and basically to speak the truth to power. She's not just the ombudsman who takes complaints, and she's not just the policy advisor or the writer of rules and regulations. When even the government is to blame, they simply can't get away with it. Can we clap for the Public Complaints Commission of Nigeria? For the most part, effective methods to evaluate the overall impact of ombudsman are simply to do well. And indeed, the Public Complaints Commission of Nigeria is doing well. On this impacting note, I would like to say that the Nigerian Public Complaints Commission has done well and is indeed doing remarkably well. The team has been so deeply entrenched for a while now. All effort has been made to dot the I's and cross the T's. And today we are here. We applaud the Public Complaints Commission. I can go on without introducing myself, and that happens a lot as an oversight. I wouldn't do that. My name is Faith Ademe. I'm a broadcast journalist and compare for the 3-day program. And now this 3-day will consist coordinating this unique global platform of ombuds type, creating innovative solutions, and exchange of best practices and capacity enhancement. We would reel out the protocol as we make progress, but first, we would like to take a welcome address from Professor Chile Wanga Igwawe Esquire, the Honorable Chief Public Complaints Commissioner of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And while he comes on board, we would like to also invite to the high table representative of the Ambassador of Sweden. Sir, we welcome you to the high table. Thank you very much indeed. A welcome address, please.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osibaju, ably represented by the Special Advisor, the head of Secretariat of the International Ombud Expo, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me and the Public Complaints Commission, the Nigerian Ombudsman, on behalf of our distinguished local and international partners, to formally welcome distinguished guests and participating delegates from across the globe to this auspicious occasion of the unprecedented International Ombud Expo, IOE 2019, holding here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. The IOE, which is the first ever exhibition by ombuds and ombud-related institutions, under the theme Extending the Ombud Frontiers, Better Governance, Enhanced Performance, avails both exhibitors, exhibitor institutions, and participating public the opportunity, practical experience of the operations of the Ombudsman. I am excited that at the last count, we had registered delegations from 15 countries covering 4 continents of the globe. This is no doubt massive. In effect, it means that participants can visit and experience the operations of ombudsmen in over 58 countries under one roof in barely 1 or 2 hours, an unprecedented experience. I wish to take this opportunity to express profound gratitude to all our partners, both local and international, the Commonwealth, the United Nations, the International Ombuds Institute, the African Ombudsman and Mediators Association, AOMA, the Caribbean Ombudsman Association, the Governance and Management Services International, GMSI, the Public Protector of South Africa, the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCT, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, the National Human Rights Commission, the Code of Conduct Bureau, all security agencies, all honorable commissioners, management and staff of the Public Complaints Commission of Nigeria, the IOE Secretariat under the headship of Professor Victor Ayeni of GMSI, among others who have worked assiduously and committed resources in various ways and measures to ensure the success of this exhibition. As a responsible host, I am aware that without any intent, some of our distinguished guests and participants have and may experience some inconveniences and unsatisfied expectations, to which I hereby take full responsibility and sincerely apologize. May I therefore once again most heartily welcome you all to the International Ombud Expo IOE, Abuja 2019, and wish also a most fulfilling exhibition experience even as you savor the ambience of the city of Abuja. I thank you for your audience.
Thank you very much indeed. From the food basket of the nation is Mrs. Veronica Onyeke. She's the head of service, Benue State, representing His Excellency the Governor of Benue State. And that's Governor Samuel Otom. Thank you very much indeed. We wish to recognize the presence of Dr. Goki Adeguroye, retired Federal Permanent Secretary. Thank you very much. Can we please applaud him? Mrs. Victoria Onyeke, has been introduced. Muhuyi Magaji Rimikado Esquire, Executive Chairman, Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission. And also, His Excellency, Mr. Humphrey Desmond, the High Commissioner of Namibia to Nigeria and Cameroon. You're welcome, sir. And also, he is the Ambassador to Chad and Permanent Representative to ECOWAS. The protocol will progress as we move on. And in the welcome address, you have been told of few of the things to expect as we proceed. I quite understand that a lot is also happening in the other room, and also we can see some of the expos that we would see in a short while. In the hall to the next are different exhibitors from different organizations around the world, and we shall be having paralleled workshops and expert sessions throughout the 3-day exhibition. Need I also say that the media coverage or reportage of this expo is world-class, as it will enjoy commensurate reporting to further highlight the Ombud's role and impact for the benefit of their respective clientele and stakeholders. So you make sure that you do well to wear your best smile. Aside wearing a good smile, it is to open your heart to the rare privilege and opportunity of fostering relationships and networking aim to enhance your image and reputation of your country, even at the states and local government levels. Can you clap for yourselves, please? Thank you very much. Mr. Yusuf H. Wadi, Solicitor General, FCTA, representing Honorable Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, is here in our midst. And we respectfully invite you to the high table. If you're here, please, we need you on the high table. Thank you very much indeed, sir. And next will be an introduction to the IOE 2019 by Professor Victor Ayeni, Director Governance and Management Services International, UK, the GMSI for short. Thank you very much indeed, sir.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of Nigeria, ably represented, the Chief Public Complaints Commissioner, ambassadors, ombudspersons, distinguished guests from different parts of the globe, ladies and gentlemen. Just before I start, I need to say that there should be simultaneous interpretations. So if you don't speak English, yeah, I think people can access whatever is being said during the discussion. My primary role here is to tell you the idea behind the International Ombud Expo, which is a creation of our office and the work that we do in GMSI based in United Kingdom. I say it with a lot of pride because our office has been involved in this area for about 42 years now. And what we thought was we needed a different way to be able to sell and communicate the value of ombudsman institution, as well as similar institutions that have been created over the last 200 years to assist mankind in solving their various problems. One of my most favorite proverbs is the one that says, and I think it's a Burkinabe proverb, that says, if you think small means insignificant, then you have never been in bed with a mosquito. And the truth of that is that mankind and societies, particularly in Africa, has increasingly faced a lot of difficult problems that can indeed be solved by simple and very easily applied institutional forms. And one of those institutional forms is represented by the Ombudsman, and which of course is the institution that you all are part of. But the Ombudsman institution, the modern version of it, which we trace to the Swedish creation in 1809, and this is why we value the representation of Sweden here, had indeed proliferated. And today, by our own estimates, based on the work that we do in GMSI, we estimate that the traditional ombudsman, which is the mainstream form, will be in about 1,000 of them now. But if we count the other different institutional forms that we have around the world in form of grievance bodies, in form of complaint handling, innovations, And we have ably represented them at the bottom of the backdrop. So when you do find time, you might just want to see the different forms in which this institution now exists in different parts of the world today. Our estimate of them is that they are no less than 30,000. And that's a huge market of institutions. But this is an institution that increasingly is often not very valued. People who work in them do not sufficiently have exposures and training to be able to do the work that they do. And based on the work that we also do, we've discovered that quite a lot of these institutions do not perform up to high standard. Many of them are poorly funded, and many of them face challenges in attracting attention from the political regime, their respective political regime. The idea of the Expo essentially, therefore, is to provide a different way of trying to sell and help to build an institutional form that we also desperately need in our various society. And the idea, of course, is that we thought that rather than constantly trying to sell messages through discussions and putting people in workshops, perhaps a better way to do it would be to get these institutions to reflect on how they do their thing, bring them to one point, and get them to showcase what they do. And this is what the Expo is trying to do. But these ideas, I would say very presently, has benefited from inspiration from a lot of other people. And the reason why clearly it is the first of its kind is the amount of work that has gone into trying to create this concept and make it work the way in which we all now represent. So in many ways, we are making history at this venue. The Expo aims to achieve a number of things, and most of that is reflected in the program that you have. But let me highlight some of the key ones. One is to provide an opportunity to bring people, institutions together to reflect and showcase the value of an institution that has become indispensable. Two, it provides an opportunity for us to brand and to sell to government officials and to political regimes the difference this institution can make in preventing many of the challenges that we have. It also meant to provide an opportunity for the different institutions that are represented here to benchmark and to be able to draw experiences from their counterpart as a way of enhancing their own work. And finally, of course, it is a capacity building experience. Capacity building in the sense that it provides an opportunity of learning and developing staff that work in those institutions. The other significant part of the uniqueness of this event is the fact that we decided to deliver it in a manner that would, in many ways, not put burden on government and institutions. Hence, it is meant to pay itself. And I know that quite a lot of our colleagues have understand the challenges we've had trying to get to you with that. The fundamental idea was really to say that we could deliver a good idea without necessarily have to depend entirely on state institutions to fund them. And I can confidently say that over 80% of what has gone into this program has come through contribution and people simply paying themselves to participate here. Thirdly, I'd like to raise another very important part of why this institution is a force of its kind. In our work over the last 40 years, we have constantly seen the value that women add to the quality of this institution. And I've come to meet so many of them. I've seen the big risks that they have taken, And I've seen the way in which many of them have maneuvered difficult terrain in order to deliver an institution that benefits society. But what we then discovered was there was no person that has ever made any attempt to even know who these women are. So what this expo has done as a parallel part of this event is to try and document all the women who have led this institution around the world over the last 200 years. This has been a painstaking effort, and tomorrow we will formally celebrate women leaders of Ombud and oversight institution. And in that exhibition, we will see meet some of these women in person, but more importantly, we will be showcasing them through an exhibition. We now essentially have about 350 women that we have identified over the last 200 years that have played a role in this institution. Before we started this effort, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, people only knew of 9 women. And that tells you how much we have paid attention to this important part, to this important gender. The other important point I do need to share with you as part of the expo is very much the fact that it has provided an opportunity also to mobilize international collaboration in achieving a very significant event. We've been able to pull together key international institutions as well as being able to bring on board some of the lived-in personalities in our institution. And I want to take the opportunity to actually personally identify them, because these are individuals that I know I have drawn a lot of inspiration from in achieving this work, but more importantly, because of the legacy they've left behind. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you an individual, a gentleman who, for me, is one of the finest gentlemen I've met, but who stands out in the African continent. He's the Africa's first military ombudsman, and this is an institution that, in our view, must be part of the future of the continent. And we are extremely proud and pleased that Lieutenant General Matandema, retired, the former military ombud of South Africa, has graced this occasion. So, Lieutenant, do you mind if I? Yes. I do want to say that quite a lot of these ideas have been inspired by him. There is someone else I have tremendous respect for, and I joked the other day that the last time I met her, I was still a good-looking young man. But I'm now rickety, and I hope that she didn't quite mind. But I know that the work that she did in those days did so much to create the ground for the work that those of you who now work in the African continent are picking up. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to identify and welcome formally to this event Justice Florence Mumba, who have done Africa proud in so many ways. She's Africa's first. She's indeed the first woman to have been appointed in Africa as an ombudsman. And she then went on to head and do tremendous work. And she's still currently in the international court system. Justice Mumba, we really appreciate you taking time off to be able to come here. In the course of the week, you will also be meeting the other ombudsmen. And I do not want to, belabor you, but I think it will be out of place if I do not also mention those other ombudsmen who are here, and I can try and mention them from, not in any particular order. The Deputy Provido of Angola, Madame Arujo, the Ombudsman of Burundi, the Ombudsman of Namibia, the Ombudsman of Botswana, the Ombudsman of Cote d'Ivoire, We also have the Ombudsman of Malawi. If I miss out, the Ombudsman of Ethiopia. Okay, thank you very much. We have, who else am I missing? I have the representative from the Military Ombudsman of South Africa, if you don't mind, represented by the Chief of Staff. Libya, yes, okay. The Ombudsman of Libya. And I have my good brother who has actually also come here to appreciate how good the jollof rice of Nigeria is, the Ombudsman of Ghana. You know. So, and I'm trying to remember the Ombudsman of the gentleman. I'm trying to remember him now. Huh? Djibouti, yes, the Ombudsman of Djibouti. Yes, okay. And am I missing any other ombudsman here? Huh? Yes, okay. The Ombudsman of Jamaica, is it? Huh? Which one is yours? Oh, Jamaica is here, okay. Sierra Leone. And Jamaica has 2 offices. Again, they actually have the only political ombudsman in the world currently. And Madam is the only, and you will hear more about the concept of a political ombudsman. If you are a politician here, don't get too frightened when she talks about it, you know. And what other ombudsman? The Ombudsman of Kenya is represented by Leonard. And we also then have our colleague from Latin America and the Caribbean, the ombudsman, former ombudsman of Curacao. She is also the former vice president of the I always miss how you pronounce that, but the group in Latin America. The Ombudsman of Bermuda is not here. I've not seen her. You know, she's, okay. I hope I haven't missed anybody out, but it's really just to make the point that this is an event that has happened because so many other people have come into it. The Chief Commissioner has already mentioned the collaboration we've received from the Commonwealth Secretariat, represented here by Steve. Steve, where's Steve? As well as Roger. Okay, Steve is there. Steve is also happens to be a Nigerian, and he knows how to eat jollof rice very well, so he doesn't have a problem. Is Roger here, please? Okay, Roger Quarantine. He's also coming to experience our jollof rice. He comes originally from Ghana, and he's actually an award-winning anti-corruption expert, and he's the Commonwealth expert on corruption. You know, I hope that in the course of the week, we would also be able to talk more about all the people who are here. I just wanted to make the point that the IO is a concept which is starting here, and we hope we are making that history, and we will be able to take it forward. Shortly, you will also receive goodwill messages from our colleagues from the international environment, because we have received tremendous support from the ombudsman in Europe, as well as the ombudsman in Asia. I have missed out the provincial ombudsman from Pakistan. I think I've just remembered that. Okay, he's come all the way from Pakistan and also had come for this event. I know that the state commissioners are all here. Nigeria has a very unique ombudsman system. In fact, the Ethiopians are the ones who copied from the Nigerians because they now represent, you know, the second office that is similar to the Nigerian form. But Nigeria actually pioneered a concept which we never believed was possible in ombudsmanship 200 years ago. And what the Nigerians did was they were able to create an institution that is a primus inter pares, has a chief ombudsman, but every state of the country also has an ombudsman, but they then constitute themselves into a corporate institution. And I know that all the 36 ombudsmen are here from all 37, including the Federal Capital Territory. If they don't mind, if we could get them to just rise. Yeah. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you see the Nigerian list, sometimes you wonder, why do they have so many ombudsmen? The story behind it is that they have a chief ombudsman who, in a sense, leads the institution, and there are also, each state as well as the Federal Capital Territory represented by other states. Just one other point I want to make is the fact that we have also made an effort in the course of this event to try to ensure that you have a very memorable experience in Nigeria. We've received a lot of support from the Federal Capital Territory in that regard, but I also want to make the point that all our visitors, have the opportunity to take advantage of what has been provided for them, including in particular, if you want to go out and you want to make any visit, we have provided security, to be able to support you and to go with you, when you want to do anything you want to do. And we've also identified what we call minders. And these are individuals who are available to assist you if you need any assistance. And the minders will, of course, be at the boat to be able to, and they will, introduce themselves to you. We would, of course, after this opening ceremony, take a quick one with the distinguished guests to see the boat. And we have prepared what we call an Expo Learning Journal. And the idea of the Expo Learning Journal is to enable you to capture your experience of the Expo. And the essence of that is that we do not want the Expo to just be a visit. It is, as I've said, a capacity building experience. And to enable you to do that, we have created a journal, and you will receive copies when you're going in, which we encourage you to use to be able to capture your experience of all the different booths. The booth will be open for the next 3 days, so if you cannot see them today, you have more time to be able to come back and interact more with all the people who are there. I want to say again, on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for taking all the trouble to come. The Chief Commissioner has already apologized. This is a new event, and we are bound to have challenges. We know that we have had challenges. I myself have been particularly challenged, and I know that it's been part of the whole experience. So we sincerely apologize if there have been any shortfall. But again, we have staff outside who will be able to assist you. Just one final person I need to let you know about is a gentleman. He's going to pay me for this introduction. He's been responsible for building our booth, and he's also responsible for providing anything that you need in terms of your booth. Yemi Chris is a very prominent man, and his role is to stand by. If you need any help, any technical help, Yemi Chris is available to help you. He does negotiate well, so just in case he brings up money, So and of course, if there are any other thing that you need, I'm around, and our staff also are in the secretariat, and if you do need any help, we'll be there to help you. I want to say again, thank you so much, and we wish you a very fruitful 3 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Ayeni. I think I have to say the professor is still a good-looking young man. Do we agree? Thank you very much. The house is indeed very full. I wouldn't have been able to get all of that list put together. Thank you for that profound speech. Someone did ask a question, a very salient question, and I think it makes sense. Why say ombudsman and a woman gets to get up? Ombudsman and a woman gets up. Men at work, and it's the women we see. I would also add that the fear of the ombudsman is the beginning of wisdom. The house is indeed full. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you for that profound speech that introduces us to the Expo, defining the key roles of this program, the aims and objectives. Professor Victor Ayeni is the Director of Governance and Management Services International. And I have also been reliably informed that the representative of the Vice President, Mrs. Mariam Weiss, will take leave shortly. So it will be ideal she takes the next turn before the goodwill messages, before they come up. And that's, she is representing the official She'll be doing the official opening address, and that is for the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo San, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, after which we'll take the goodwill messages. Thank you very much, ma'am.
So good morning, distinguished members of the High Table, our guests, the media. I bring the sincere apologies of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, for his inability to be here personally, and I've been asked to fit in into his shoes. He's given me a speech to read on his behalf, and so I will do so. I am delighted to join our distinguished guests and international delegates from across the globe at this auspicious occasion of the International Ombuds Exhibition, tagged International Ombud Expo, IOE 2019. On behalf of the government and people of Nigeria, let me assure you that we are delighted to receive all of you, some on their maiden visit, while others possibly on their return visits. Let me also express profound appreciation to the organizers of this event, the Public Complaints Commission, Nigerian Ombudsman, the Governance and Management Systems International of UK, the African Ombudsman and Mediators Association, and the Ministry of Federal Territory Administration, the administrators of our capital city, who are hosting this event. I am informed that this event is unique, having been conceived as the largest gathering of ombudsmen from various jurisdictions across the globe for the exhibition of practice and operations of ombudsmanship, rather than the traditional talk shops, which is the norm. Furthermore, its uniqueness lies in the fact that it's the first of its kind. Nigeria is therefore glad to be hosting this event, being noble and historic. The theme of this Ombuds exhibition, extending the Ombuds frontiers, better governance, enhanced performance, is no doubt proactive, touching on the ultimate objective of the Ombuds mandate. As a social concept, ombudsmanship cannot but be dynamic, whereas the focus remains operating as a bulwark against administrative injustice. The types and forms of administrative injustice have continued to change with the times and the seasons. The theme itself is double-edged, to wit, calling for proactivity and progressive conceptual development on the part of the ombudsman on the one hand, and a progressively improved culture of abstinence from negative or bad governance for the enthronement of good governance on the other. From its Swedish origin since 1809, the ombudsman anglicized from Swedish ombudsman or umburmao, which simply means the representative. The concept has not only enjoyed global acceptability, it has expanded conceptually to encapsulate the protection of the rule of law, fundamental human rights, and the advancement of the yearnings and expectations of the citizens. Indeed, according to the International Ombudsman Institute, the institute is an office established by the Constitution or statute, headed by a high-level public official who receives complaints about injustice and maladministration from aggrieved persons against government agencies, officials, employees, or acts on his or her own initiative. The Ombudsman has powers to investigate, criticize, recommend corrective actions, and generally to publicize administrative action. The concept of good governance is not only about form, but also about the quality of governance. In this regard, the government of Nigeria places high premium on good governance, anchored on the building of strong institutions and anti-corruption. Pursuant to this objective, the Nigerian Ombudsman, known as the Public Complaints Commission, is a constitutional institution and has a robust legal framework that allows it operational independence, with a vast mandate covering both the public and private sectors, federal, states, and local government agencies, and all public and private companies registered in Nigeria. This is in recognition of the fact that citizens' grievances do not only arise from the public sector, but also from the private sector. Besides the Public Complaints Commission, the Nigerian government has put in place other subject-specific agencies, such as the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Code of Conduct Bureau, the Code of Conduct Tribunal, among others, to broaden the intensity of oversight with a view to delivering good governance to both citizens and non-citizens resident within jurisdiction. With all these aforementioned agencies, which oversight governance externally, another agency was again established in 2004 to ensure due diligence and compliance from within. This is known as Servicom, which is an acronym for Service Compact with All Nigerians. This agency serves the purpose of internal service quality audit against public assessment and concerns. It is expected that the collaborative operation of these agencies, together with the Ombudsman, will deliver good governance to the people. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am conscious of the fact that the idea of this exhibition is to escape the monotony of talk shops, and I therefore do not intend to relapse into that. While wishing you a most fulfilling exhibition, let me once again welcome all of you to Nigeria and enjoin you to make the best of your stay in Abuja, so that in the end you will testify of an Abuja that you know personally, rather than Abuja that is perceived through third-party information. On this note, therefore, I have the pleasure to formally declare the International Ombud Expo, Abuja 2019 open. God bless you all, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Amiable Mrs. Mariam Owais. And she just took the opening address, the official opening address, representing Professor Yemi Osinbajo-San. And that's the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I understand that time is of the essence for her as she begs to take her leave. Thank you very much indeed, ma'am. Thank you very much. We would also like to recognize the presence of Dr. Roger Korateng. Dr. Roger Korateng is the Advisor and Head Public Sector Governance, Commonwealth Secretariat, London, UK. Thank you very much. Do we have Dr. Korateng here? Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. And next will be a goodwill message from Ambassador Inga Yutsvits from the Swedish Embassy in Nigeria. Can we welcome the ambassador? Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And first, as a small correction, I'm here on the behalf of the ambassador. I'm not the ambassador myself, unfortunately, but I will get to that. So first of all, good morning. It's still good morning, even though we're running a little bit late. His Excellency, the Vice President, represented by his Special Advisor, Mariam Owais, who just left, Honorable Chief Public Complaints Commissioner, Mr. Chile Wagner, Professor Ayeni, Director of GMSI, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and ombudsmen from around the globe. My name is, in fact, Johan Arvidsson, and I'm here on the behalf of His Excellency, Mr. Carl Michael Grenz, who is the new ambassador and the ambassador designate from Sweden to Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, and the ECOWAS Commission. I would like to say that it's a great honor to be here today and to deliver this special goodwill message. The ambassador sends his sincere regrets that he unfortunately could not attend in person because he's in Ghana today on an official trip. As both the Honorable Commissioner mentioned and the Special Advisor, Sweden is the origin of this quite weird word, ombudsman, that has spread across the globe. and I think it might be one of very few Swedish contributions to the English language, besides the much less used smorgasbord, maybe. But we're very proud of this word and of the concept, although we can't take credit for how it has developed since its inception in 1809, when it was provided for in the new constitution in Sweden, where it created a parliamentary ombudsman, the first ever of its kind. And it was written into the constitution to show its significance and to protect this new institution from political fluctuations. And other ombudsmen have since appeared in various shapes and forms, but they, or rather all of you, all share the same core objective: to ensure that the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens are not infringed upon where there is a substantial imbalance of power. And in the beginning, this imbalance of power was between the individual and the state or the public authorities. But since then, the ombudsman concept has spread to other sectors as well and into the private sphere. And as a representative of the Swedish embassy and of the Swedish government, I'm also glad to see that this event puts a special emphasis on celebrating women leaders. Since 2014, Sweden, as the first country in the world, has a feminist foreign policy and a feminist government. And this simply means that we try to put gender equality at the center of all our policies, both foreign and domestic. And until 1941, only men could become parliamentary ombudsmen in Sweden, hence the word. In spite of that, it took until 1987, in other words, 46 years from the formal change until the first female was elected to this position in Sweden. And this goes to show that reform is not only a matter of changing rules and regulations. The greatest change has to do with mindset and attitudes. And that takes longer to achieve. The concept of ombudsman has come a long way since its formal inception, 210 years ago this year. This impressive and first ever International Ombud Expo is a clear testimony to that. So with that being said, I look forward to interesting and enriching days ahead of us here in Abuja, and I wish you the best of luck in your continued and very, very important work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Representing the Ambassador of Sweden, Johan Andersson, the Ambassador of Sweden, Inge Judsford. And with that, we start with the goodwill messages, and the next in line is from the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to associate myself with the protocol already established in order to make some time. We are pleased to bring you to this Expo the warmest greetings from the Commonwealth Secretary General and of course the Deputy Commonwealth Secretary General, who himself had wanted to be here this morning with us. But unfortunately, circumstances could not allow him to be here. However, he wishes me to express his goodwill and well wish to the Expo. The Commonwealth Secretariat has been a trailblazer and a vanguard in the field of ombudsman. We know that no less than 60% of the ombudsman offices in the Commonwealth today owes their establishment to the intervention of the Commonwealth Secretariat since 1990s through the instrumentalities of our own Professor Victor Ayeni, who was with us and championed the work of ombudsman around the Commonwealth and to some extension the globe. So thank you, Prof. Continuing from the pioneering work done by Prof. Ayeni, the Commonwealth Secretariat has also made great progress in the area of anti-corruption, leading lately to the receiving the International Anti-Corruption Excellence Award, which was bestowed on my good self in December 2018 in Malaysia. In the area of anti-corruption, few to be mentioned that the Secretariat established a successful and a vibrant anti-corruption agencies association in Commonwealth Africa to promote inter-agency collaboration and learning through the sharing of experience and best practices. That was in 2011. In 2013, same Secretariat established the Commonwealth Anti-Corruption Center in Botswana in 2013, which builds on and strengthens the capacities of anti-corruption agencies and other public sector organizations in Commonwealth Africa. Again, in 2015, the Secretariat, again, Commonwealth Secretariat, established the Association of Integrity Commission and Anti-Corruption Bodies in the Commonwealth Caribbean. And in 2017, we established a regional training center of excellence in Grenada, in the Caribbean, to take care of anti-corruption agencies, integrity commissions, and public sector organizations' capacity building in the Caribbean. In the human rights field, the Commonwealth Secretariat has worked assiduously, and our role is uncontestable in this area. My colleague Karen and my good friend and colleague Steve is here with me, have supported the national human rights institutions in the Commonwealth in their reviews and capacity building needs to enable them to deliver on their mandate. So it is a great honor, and against this backdrop, that the Commonwealth Secretariat have accepted the invitation from the organizers to be part of this historic event of International Ombud Expo 2019. Finally, we would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers, particularly a man I respect very much, and I've met him in various areas in our work, Honorable Chief Public Complaint Commissioner for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for the invitation, sir. And my own mentor, somebody I succeeded at the Commonwealth Secretariat, who has been mentoring me in various forms, Professor Victor Ayeni, for inviting the Commonwealth Secretariat to this International Ombud Expo. That will offer us the opportunity to celebrate and share our experience with colleagues, participants. We thank you and we wish you a successful Expo. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. It is indeed very heartwarming to hear from the Commonwealth Secretariat. I understand that by way of visual representation, we're going to take next the goodwill messages from first Peter Tyndall, and he is the President, International Ombudsman Institute, an Ombudsman and Information Commissioner for Ireland, and that will be followed by a goodwill message from Rob Behrens, Parliamentary and Health Services Ombudsman of the United Kingdom, and also Baines Gowanus, United Nations Under-Secretary General and Special Advisor on Africa. I think that should come up next.
Good morning, Excellencies, colleagues, friends. I'm Peter Tyndall, Ombudsman for Ireland and President of the International Ombudsman Institute, the IOI. The IOI is delighted to be supporting the first ever International Ombud Expo in Abuja. Ombudsman offices around the world play an incredibly important role in promoting good governance. The role of Ombudsman institutions is to protect people against violation of rights, abuse of power, unfair decisions, and maladministration. The International Ombudsman Institute was established in 1978. It's the only global organization for the cooperation of almost 200 independent ombudsman institutions from over 100 countries worldwide. The IOI has members from all parts of the world: Asia, Australasia, the Pacific, Europe, the Caribbean, Latin America, North America, and of course, Africa. In its efforts to focus on good governance and capacity building, the IOI supports its members through training, research, and regional subsidies for projects. The theme of your Expo is extending the Ombud frontiers, better governance, enhanced performance. Ombudsman institutions are an important mechanism for the improvement of public administration and support for the rule of law. They make actions of governments more open, their administration more accountable to the citizens and the public, and also play an increasingly important role in the protection and promotion of human rights, and in fulfilling their diverse mandates. Ombudsman institutions constitute an essential and necessary element in vindicating every person's right of access to justice and the development and maintenance of transparent and accountable democracies. You've a very busy and extremely important program for your Expo. Over the next few days, I see that you'll discuss grievance handling around the world, how to use complaints to drive improvements in public services, and you'll share experience from different ombudsman and human rights organizations. I'm very pleased to see that you'll be celebrating and highlighting the contributions of women leaders in ombudsman and oversight institutions. The ombudsman community contains women who have major impact in correcting injustice and in tackling corruption and poor administration, not least in Africa. It's very fitting that their work should be recognized and celebrated. Finally, I wish you all the very best with your Expo. It promises to be a very interesting experience for you all. I have no doubt that it will benefit all participants and help you all in your roles of improving governance around the globe. Have a very good Expo.
All right, that was Mr. Peter Tyndall, President, International Ombudsman Institute and Ombudsman Information Commissioner for Ireland. Next is Rob Behrens, Rob Burns is Parliamentary and Health Services Ombudsman of the United Kingdom. Thank you.
Hello, this is Rob Behrens, Parliamentary Ombudsman of the United Kingdom, sending my greetings and solidarity to the International Ombud Expo in Abuja. I'm very sorry I can't be with you, and I wish your deliberations every success. Africa has a key part to play in our best practice and understanding of what human rights-based public policy should be. If you look at the poster on my wall, you can see how influential Africa is here in the United Kingdom. I wish your discussions to be joyful and productive, and I look forward to reading about the outcomes of the proceedings with enthusiasm. All the very best.
Oh, after that, we're going to take from Baines Governance. Baines Governance is the United Nations Under-Secretary General and Special Advisor on Africa.
I send you goodwill greetings from the United Nations. As the Under-Secretary General and Special Advisor on Africa and a former Ombudswoman of Namibia, I am especially proud to identify with this most momentous event. I'm profoundly sorry that I had to cancel my trip to join you at the last minute because of exigencies beyond my control. It is indeed a very auspicious occasion today. I cannot remember a more remarkable effort to enable a representation of ombudsmen, ombud-type organizations, and sector establishments to celebrate the role and performance of ombudsmen's organizations in contemporary governance. And the approach of the event is unique and highly commendable. The theme of this first International Ombud Expo, namely extending the Ombud frontiers, better governance, enhanced performance, is most appropriate for the time. From the establishment of the first modern ombudsman in Sweden some 200 years ago, the role of the office has proliferated in response to the demands of cultures, the integrity of service, and most importantly, the desire for responsive and responsible governance for the citizenry. This positive trend has led to sectoral ombudsmanship in finance, military, welfare, and education, just to mention a few. The demand to establish offices continues to grow across the globe. Here in Africa, we see an increasing role for ombud institutions in mediating conflicts and building peace as part of our collective determination to silencing the guns in Africa. It is therefore most appropriate, as this event does, to further support this effort across all sectors. In addition to different offices showcasing what they do and how they do it, the Expo will include various expert sessions focusing on topical areas of the Ombud institution. Some of these topics touch on the very core of what Ombud represents and hopefully will help unravel some of the difficult challenges that ombudspersons and operatives have wrestled with over the years, and through these vital discussions, help us all to better appreciate lessons learned that can continue to shape and enhance best practices. I cannot overemphasize the significance of the Expo in deciding to focus as well on the contributions of women ombuds over the past 200 years history of the institution, appreciating and celebrating the women who have stood firm in the difficult terrain of preaching justice and fair play to their citizens in the face of administrative and sentimental challenges is most befitting. I understand that the Expo Secretariat has taken the arduous task to identify and create a database of the photos of these women from all across the 6 continents of the world. This is invaluable information that everyone associated with the institution will remain ever grateful for. Lastly, Let me seize this opportunity to appreciate all those who have made this first-time event possible. In particular, the Chief Public Complaints Commissioner of Nigeria and the President of AUMA for co-hosting this event. I wish to especially acknowledge my very good friend and colleague as well, Professor Victor Ayeni, former Director of Governance of the Commonwealth Secretariat, for initiating and organizing this event. I am ever proud of the remarkable work we did together during my days as Ombudswoman of Namibia, including in midwifing the birth of the African Ombudsman Association. Well done, everyone. I wish all exhibitors and participants a very fruitful sharing of experience and congratulate you all in being part of the history made today. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Control Room. I appreciate the fact that this expo, being the first of its kind, is well represented. Can we once more appreciate Mr. Peter Tindall, Rob Barons, and Bian Squanis for their roles, and the roles are quite formidable to the success of social justice the world over. Can we clap once more? Thank you. Next in line is a special message by a representative, someone representing the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. He is to take up the special message. We would not do well to get on without a special message from the Mayor. And so we have him seated here, and we will take that special message, and we will proceed. Thank you.
His Excellency, the Vice President, and good morning all. Permit me to stand on the established protocols. I am Yusuf H.O.D. I represent the Honorable Minister, FCT, Malam Mohammed Musa Bello, who would have been here personally, but for the fact that he has other state functions. He really sends in his apologies. He has directed me to read his speech, and here it goes. I feel honored to welcome our esteemed guests and participants to the International Ombud Expo holding here in Abuja, the beautiful capital city of Nigeria. I trust that your experiences have been pleasant so far, and on behalf of the residents and administration of the Federal Capital Territory, I welcome you all. I am informed that this is the first ever international gathering of all ombuds types, complaints handlers, grievance offices, and similar institutions to showcase critical performance factors. We are particularly delighted that this event is taking place in our beloved country, Nigeria, and Abuja in particular. This is because we are working quite hard to make Abuja a destination of choice for conference, tourism, and events such as this, which really excites us because it indicates that our efforts in this direction are working. We recognize and appreciate the critical role of the Ombud in public service delivery and good governance. Therefore, any insight into how these institutions execute their roles and make a difference in the performances of governments and organizations across the globe is of paramount interest to us. The focus of this conference, which centers on extending the Ombud frontiers, better governance, enhanced performance, is indeed quite relevant. The theme is undeniably in tandem with the quest of President Muhammadu Buhari for good governance and better service delivery at all levels. The role of the Ombudsman in our fight against corruption and poor service delivery, especially at government institutions, and entrenchment of positive social values amongst the general populace cannot be overstated. This forum, I therefore believe, will provide a viable platform for one-on-one interaction and the sharing of experiences amongst Ombud leaders and diverse functionaries, as well as providing a first-hand insight for policy makers, corporate leaders, and organization managers on the role of Ombud and grievance handling. This is in addition to tackling wide-ranging governance problems, managing conflicts, and boosting performances and productivity of governments and organizations. It is my fervent hope that at the end of this expo, fresh insights in facilitating better governance and driving performance in government establishments in the country, and FCT in particular, will be gained. On our part in the FCT, the administration welcomes decisions that will emanate from this conference aimed at further enhancing productivity among staff and boost performance efficiency. I sincerely thank and commend the Public Complaints Commission, Nigeria's own ombudsman, for the tremendous efforts put into hosting this very important event. I believe it will go a long way in ensuring that you achieve your mandate and also strengthen your resolve in ensuring good performance and service delivery in our country. On this note, I urge you all, especially first-time visitors to the FCT, to take some time out to explore the rich culture and beautiful sites that epitomizes our magnificent national capital. It is our desire that you take back fond memories of your stay here and that you will come back again for more leisurely purpose as well. I hereby wish you all a rewarding and productive conference. Thank you for your attention, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much. Mohammed Musa Bello, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, has been ably represented. And we thank you for that special message. And we'll take next from a very strong woman, a woman of influence. We're talking about influence, we talk about social justice. With love from the Rainbow Nation of South Africa, Buzaziwe Mkhwebane. Can we clap for her, please? Thank you very much, madam. Now she's to do the vote of thanks. She's to give us the vote of thanks, and after which we will disperse. But before we disperse, we'll take a special announcement from the Chief Commissioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Program Director, Your Excellencies, all protocol observed. Professor Ayeni, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to you. You have organized the first of its kind, and we were speaking earlier, and I hope you were not offended, but it was constructive criticism. Take it in that spirit, because of jealousy of what you've done for Africa, and I wanted him to include a lot of Africans to bring African solution. So he reminded me, remember his international conference, which we appreciate so much. Thank you, Professor. I think we appreciate your efforts, and it's a first of its kind indeed, and we hope that we will do more of this, and as Africans we'll have to come together more and find a lot of our solutions, because we have a lot of our problems. We know we are the richest continent, but our people are the poorest of the poor. So such instances, Professor, will help us to change the status quo. And we hope that with your contribution, we are learning day by day, and we can see that Africa, it is possible to change the status quo. Therefore, as the African Ombudsman and Mediators Association, being the president of that institution, we say to the Chief Ombudsman of Nigeria, Professor Ayeni, and all the ombudsmen who are here, all the states ombudsmen from Nigeria, the Excellencies ombudsman, ambassadors, and from Asia, from UK, who gave messages of support. We thank you so much. And let me not hasten to just thank you as yet, but then I will thank you more when we have the impact of the Africa we want to see. 2063, good governance, human rights, clean governance, the rule of law. So this is a build-up towards 2063, where our grandchildren and our children will be asking us, what have we done for Africa? And we will be mentioning Professor Ayeni having this first idea, and we continued with it, and we replicated it to our various regions. Thank you so much, Prof.
We appreciate that vote of thanks coming from Boziziwe Mkobene, Public Protector of South Africa. And that's a very, very strong title, madam. We appreciate, and something I would always say about South Africa is that the rest of Africa has so much leave to take from South Africa when it comes to demanding justice. We thank you very much, and we would proceed with, I can see that we're almost rounding up. We would round up the next, before that, we will take announcement from the Chief Commissioner himself. And also, I'm also being told that we should all get ready, and when I mean we, I mean the ombudsman present in the house, for an official exhibition photograph. And with that, we'll be wrapping up this first phase of the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to appreciate every one of you for the rapt attention that we have had in the course of this opening ceremony. But immediately following the photograph, we will now have the ceremonial inspection of the booths of the exhibitions.